Hi there, welcome to the Teeny Tinkers channel. I make ball joint, adult, and craft related content. Today's video is something I've been asked a lot, and it is how to use TaoBao. Now, I'm by no means an expert at using TaoBao. I just know what works for me and what has worked for me. And for all the people who comment, I wish I could use TaoBao, you can use TaoBao. If you're not wanting to use an agent, agents are great, by the way. Like if you can't use TaoBao, or if you're having a hard time using it, agents are obviously an option. But if you're wanting to kind of save yourself that agent fee and just shop yourself, this is how I do it. So to start off, you can use TaoBao either as an app or as the website. I don't use the app, though I know a lot of people who do. I find the website much easier to use and to navigate and to translate. My app never translated properly, even when it was set to English. I don't know if it was just buggy on my old phone, but I got frustrated with it and just switched to trying to use the website, which worked out much, much better. So when you're shopping for TaoBao, you're going to go to world.taobao.com. And the first thing we have to do, obviously, is make an account. Now, weirdly, this is the part that I had the most trouble with. This is the kind of hardest thing to do for no reason. So I think part of it is having to kind of translate things back and forth, but I'm going to try and make this easy. So this is what I see when I go to world.taobao.com. I'm not technically logged in. However, it does still remember my name. I don't know. But one way you can go to log in is if you click the login button, even if you don't have an account. This is how I did it because I could not figure it out, but this worked. It'll bring you to this page where I have blurred out my email. So yeah, and there's a whole bunch of stuff here. You can see it's kind of hard to read. Google Translate doesn't always translate it. Sometimes if you refresh, it will. No. So once you get to this page, there's basically three options at the bottom. Roughly it's forgot password, forgot username, and then this one is sign up for free. So you're going to click on that. At this point, it doesn't really let me show you any further because I'm worried it's going to mess up my account, but I'll insert some screenshots so you can kind of see what it's supposed to look like. But basically, you're going to be brought to a page where you're going to sign up. It's basically going to ask you for a phone number. It will default to a Chinese, like for a Chinese phone number. If you're in China, fabulous. If you're not from China, which is probably why you're watching this video, that is geared towards, I'm in Canada, but like North Americans, I guess, in general, you would just put in your North American, Canadian, US phone number and try and switch the toggle. Sometimes it'll fight you, but it should go. And then you're going to go through the steps. You're going to have to verify your phone number. So it's going to send a code to your phone number, very standard. You put the code into TaoBao, and then you're going to be able to choose your username and password. I super strong recommend having Google remember your password. I don't know why, but there has been so many times where I hadn't had it remember the password yet, and I would go to log in and it would fight me for like every little reason, and it wouldn't let me log in. But ever since I had Google Chrome remember the password, it's easy peasy and I get in and out, no problem. It does log you out constantly, so it doesn't keep you logged in if you're not using it, so that's good, but it is quite easy to log in. Once you do all that, you should be able to move on to the next step, which is actually logging in. And for that, of course, you're going to go to this login page and click login. One thing to note about TaoBao is pretty much every time you click anything, it opens it in a new tab, so just be ready. So I'm going to go ahead and click the red button, which is login. Before we get started on looking at items, I just wanted to go over payment with you. The app/online store is obviously free to browse. You don't have to pay anything to look around. There's no like membership fee or anything. However, you do have to be able to pay for your items. There's a couple different options. The two main ones are for us, I guess, are going to be for Alipay, which can be a bit of a pain to set up. I've never done it, but yeah, you can set up an Alipay account. It might be a bit of a pain. However, you can also just use your credit card. I believe TaoBao accepts many. They accept like MasterCard, I believe Visa, just a lot of the major credit cards. And so when you're going to check out with items, which we'll get to in a little bit, you just have to put in your credit card information. Make sure you're using a credit card that has fraud protection. I've never had this be an issue, but I just think it's better to be safe than sorry. So that's what I recommend. All right. Now you are able to buy things, but now you have to find things to buy. So you can see that mine is translated, and that's because I'm using Google Chrome. If you're not getting an automatic translation, I strongly recommend using Google Chrome. It is the only way I've been able to navigate the site properly, and it's been a savior for me, honestly. So the two main ways that I find items on TaoBao is by using the Google Translate feature and searching things using simplified Chinese. So detect language, it's just going to be English. And I'm going to want to translate that to Chinese simplified. Simplified Chinese has worked best for me rather than any of the other options. And you want to try and keep your search terms really basic and short. If you get too detailed, the translations aren't quite the same. You're going to notice things like you'll search for like leggings and it's not going to give you what you want. It's not going to give you like yoga pants, basically. It's going to give you like maybe tights or something. So you are going to have to play around a bit with that. But for the most part, if you keep your search terms pretty simple, it's going to be okay to navigate it. For example, BJD clothes. So you're going to get BJD and then some Chinese characters, which mean clothes. And you're just going to copy it and then drop it into the search bar. If you hover for a second, it should. It's not going to do it this time, but generally will give you like a preview of what it is translating to in English. So that's nice. So you can kind of make sure it's searching what you want it to search, because Google Translate can kind of be. One thing to note about Google is this is going to pop up every time you open a page. Just accept it. Live and let live. You just have to deal with it. But from there, you end up here. So I'm on BJD clothes. You can sort by proportion, so you can go like 1/3, 1/4. I find this actually ends up cutting most of your options, and it filters out things that you might still be looking for. I'm not sure why, but like if I click for only a 1/4 scale size, I will lose like a bunch of 1/4 scale clothes that I could have looked at. So I just kind of keep it open and look around that way. So you're going to scroll through. You'll see something you like, maybe like, let's find something I like. We have this anti-sweater already. It's super cute. There's some pants. Those are a 1/4 scale, 1/3 scale. Let's take a look. So I usually click command and open in a new tab. I think it will open in a new tab anyway. It's just a habit of mine. But we got some light blue jeans. Those are cute. 4 points. Yeah, and then I would just add this. So you're gonna notice it's 35 Chinese. I believe it's yen. Okay, Duolingo. It's 35 Chinese yen, and then the shipping is 5 yen. No, it's not. That's your shipping to the warehouse, except that you're going to be adding about 20%, 10% more maybe. Depends on the size of the item, really, and the weight. But you're going to be paying more later for shipping. So 40 yen is not your total price on this item. The fun part is you don't really get to find out how much it's going to cost in total until you get later down the line and you've already paid for the items. That's a feature I don't love, but it's part of using TaoBao in North America. However, do know that things like clothing, wigs, eyes, small items are not going to be extremely expensive to ship. Things like furniture pieces, especially couches, are going to be extremely expensive to ship. Probably like 4 or 5 times the value of the item. So just keep that in mind, because things on TaoBao can be quite inexpensive, but there is kind of like a hidden price tag to them. Okay, so let's say we like these jeans, which are quite cute. I'm gonna add it to the cart. If you're finding it doesn't add to the cart, it did that time with a single click. I don't know why this works for me, but if I scroll down on the page and then scroll back up and then double click the button, sometimes it works. I don't know what magic this is, but that has worked for me. I don't know if I don't know what I'm doing or what, but it has worked. Okay. So it's going to bring you to this like successfully added to the cart page. Now, you can save yourself on a bit of shipping from the seller to the warehouse if you buy more things from a single store, most of the time. And also, I like to shop in the same stores because if they have 1 or 2 items I like, they'll probably have more. So in this case, my favorite thing to do is to just click that top bit with the little like blue, is he an onion? I don't know what he is, but it'll bring you to the store page. Strong recommend while they're loading to not leave the tab, because if you leave the tab, the translator's not going to work. You're going to have to reload the whole page again anyway, so I tend to just hang out and wait. So this is the store page, and you're going, wow, they've got 2 items. That's great. But if you go under all categories, all babies, also get used to seeing the word babies because everything is a baby. With the translation, I think it's like items, but it's translating to babies. Okay, so maybe they do only have 2 they only have 2 items. Bad example. But that's how you would find the store page. And I do recommend just going under all babies if it's a BJD shop or something. If they have a ton of items, the boutiques usually have about maybe 20 to 100 items, so it's kind of fun to scroll through them. If there's like a ton of items, then you can use the sidebar for sure, or if you're looking for something extremely specific, but for browsing around, I just recommend all babies. So the other way you can find items is by going through an agent and not ordering through the agent, but for example, if you go to BJD Biner, which is an agent that does BJDs and accessories and clothes, you can go through like this. Say you want clothes. Let's stick with clothes. All right, these are pretty cute jeans. I'm going to open those. So if I click them, log in or verify, you're not a robot. It's going to bring you to a product page within Biner. Looks like this. But if you don't want to shop on Biner and you want to shop on TaoBao, what you're going to do is click down. And there's a button that says View in TaoBao, and you're going to click there. So after you click that button, it's going to bring you to this page, or like the item page in TaoBao, but you'll notice at the beginning of the link, it still says biner.com/TaoBao, and you kind of want to escape from that. So what I do is click on the store name, and I have now officially left BJD Biner. I found the store, and I can find the item in the stock, as well as seeing the rest of the items, and then checkout, added to the cart. And it's going to go into your TaoBao cart and not into a Biner cart. So that's another way you can find items. You can also grab the names from Biner and drop them into TaoBao, but that doesn't always work. So I do tend to kind of click through to the store, leaves Biner, and then you still have Biner open in another tab, so you can continue shopping there and scrolling through if that's easier for you to use, because it's an all English interface, I believe. I think maybe you can set the language, but do know that there is way more on TaoBao than there is on Biner. Biner is kind of a curated list. It's not always updated as fast as TaoBao, so if a shop puts new products out, it's not necessarily going to show up on Biner for a little bit, so do with that information what you will. Okay, so maybe at this point you're done shopping and you're ready to check out, and you're like, what is the process for this? And let's get into that. Okay, so at this point you've got your cart full of items, or maybe just one item, whatever you want to do. I do recommend probably waiting until you have like at least a few items, just so it kind of makes the shipping make sense. But if you want, you can click on shopping cart, and it'll bring you to everything in there. There's some like random little props and shoes and stuff, just the most random stuff in here. But say for example, I wanted to purchase them. I could say, oh, I like this and this. I don't know why there's two of this. I like, oh, this little plant is cute. I'm gonna get that. The little house is cute. Let's get that. And let's grab that pair of jeans. That first pair of jeans we really liked. Okay, so it says selected 5 pieces, total excluding shipping, $146.90. If you're like me and you're not a human translator, I recommend kind of rounding up to like 147, for example, and not using the decimal. You just open up a new tab and you go like 147 Chinese yen to USD or CAD or whatever you're using. And you're going to find out those 5 items without shipping are going to cost you about $22 a steal, right? Okay, so then you're going to click on this button, which is going to bring you to checkout. You're going to have this orange thing at the top. Mine's blurred out because obviously it's my address and we do not need to share that with the class. So when you go down, it's going to give you some different shipping options. Canal, consolidation, air freight, standard from 130. I do tend to use standard. It's the tracking is better. It's faster. Like if I use standard, I almost always get my items within 10 business days. If you use economy, it could be any time from like 10 business days to 6 months. So the choice is yours, but I will pay the extra because I'd find the shipping not too expensive. For example, the shipping on my 5 items is 130 yen, which would probably be like maybe $8. Okay, it's like $20. Whew. But yeah, I'll pay the $20 shipping. I also typically do get more items, so I would get like $150 worth of stuff and then pay like $30 or $40 shipping, and that's completely fine for me. But if you want to save some money, you can get the economy air freight. It is going to take an unknown amount of time though, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so you have your items. You can send messages to the seller if you want. Sometimes they require it if there's like items need you to pick colors and stuff. But you know, so you'll scroll through all your items, make sure, yep, that's everything I want, and it'll give you actual payment. So this is the payment for shipping and for your items. Okay. We have to take a moment, and I need to remind everyone that this shipping is shipping to the warehouse. This is that, like, for example, 5 yen charge you'd seen with the 35 yen jeans, that it's going to be, like, added. That's the shipping you're paying now. So after you make a purchase, you're going to have the item show up under the My Purchases page. This is under my TaoBao products bought. So as you can see, there's a bunch of items in here. And there's a few things to note about what's going on here. Let's take a look at this item, for example. We have this like BJD outfit set that Stella is wearing right now and looking really cute in. But we have the initial cost of it, and then the cost of the shipping from the seller to the warehouse. So that's that total price we'd seen in the last part. So what would happen if this wasn't paid for? It would say something like waiting for warehouse, or warehouse waiting to receive or something. So what happens after you purchase the items is the sellers are going to send them to the warehouse, and you have to wait for all of your items to say warehouse signed successfully. If you don't, they're not in the warehouse. You can't have them packaged up and shipped to you. You can't do it preemptively. You have to wait for the warehouse to say that they got it. Once all of your items that you've ordered have come in, and it'll say like in warehouse or warehouse signed successfully, you can select the items using this little tick box here. Tick, tick. I think there is one item in here that I can show you. Okay. This is the other option here. Ignore that the refund is denied. They didn't ship it in time. Anyways, we're not getting into what happened there. But this is the other thing it can say is waiting for the buyer to close the package, and that means that they're waiting for me to pay the consolidation shipping on it. This will happen too. So you're going to see this red button, combined it's like combined transaction. So what you would do with multiple items like this is you would select them all, and then all the ones you wanted to check out with, and then you're going to click this combined transactions button. Okay. So this is the consolidation page. Typically you would have more than one item in there, but you're going to see a transaction number, etc. You're again going to have to select all on everything. It is what it is. Select all, get your items, and then you're going to click one-click package. From one-click package, which I'm not going to click because I'm not trying to check out with this, it's going to bring you to a payment page, and this is where if you have Alipay set up, you can pay with Alipay. Otherwise, you can put in your credit card details and pay. And this is paying for the shipping from the warehouse to you, not for the items. So at this point, you'll be able to see the items and see the order and track it. Okay, so after you've paid the consolidation fee, the warehouse needs to kind of package it together. So your area here will say something like warehouse picking or warehouse prepping or something along those lines. And then once that's done, they'll ship it out. This usually only takes like 2 days, like maybe. It's quite fast. And once they ship it out, it will give you logistics. So this red button will show up. You can click on that. So once you've paid the consolidation fee and you have logistics or tracking, you can click on the view logistics. Mine looks a little bit different right now because I've received the items, and it kind of looks a bit different after, I guess. But basically, you can use this page to find out what's happening with your item. For example, if we scroll down, we can see where the order was placed, where it was shipped to the warehouse, etc., picked up. This is where I was saying the shipping warehouse has been signed. That's when the warehouse received the item from the seller. The package has been stored. I need to combine the package and pay the shipping fee. That's telling me I need to do a consolidated shipping. Order ready to ship. I have paid the consolidation fee and selected my items. The container warehouse starts picking. So it took 5 days that time. I think that was probably over a weekend maybe, but I'm not sure. It doesn't usually take that long. Order ready to ship. Picking in the container is completed. The package is ready to leave the warehouse. Warehouse processing. Out of stock means it has left the warehouse. It's out. Loaded in the container. It's shipped out. It goes across the border, etc., 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 until it has arrived to you. Now, the tracking, you can't like grab a tracking number and like drop it into FedEx. So that's something important-ish to note. They don't really give you a tracking number. They give you something called a waybill number. And sometimes you can grab it and go to a site like 17 Track and track it there. But generally, you're going to be relying on TaoBao's tracking. So just something else to be aware of. So I have never waited with the standard shipping. I've never waited longer than, like I said, about 10, maybe 14 business days for my items once they had been shipped out. It is quite quick. I've only ever had to pay customs on it once, and it was a really big package. So keep that in mind, that if you're in a country where there are customs, you can end up paying customs on them. So just be aware and don't be surprised if that happens. When it arrives, it typically arrives in a box. I've never had anything come in a bag, but maybe it depends on the items you order. But it comes in a box with like a bunch of tape on it. Yeah, that's basically it. I've never had anything arrive damaged or missing or anything like that. So that's been really great. And if that does happen, if you go down here, this Xiaomi customer, for example, it's like customer support. If you type in there in English, it's going to give you like a link to go talk to their international people. And if you click on that and they give you that link, you can type in English and the other person will type in English. So that's helpful if you don't want to be going into Google Translate and dropping something. Although I tried that one time and they still sent me the link, so I think they were very aware of I was putting into Google Translate and were trying to help me out. Their support is really helpful and straight to the point. They walked me through an issue I had where I wanted to return an item and I wasn't sure how. I'd never done it, but they walked me through that and it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, so that was really nice. Something I'll mention here, I guess. What happened with me is I ordered a couch it cost like $80 or $100. And then once it got to the warehouse, the shipping on just the couch was like $190. And I was like, ooh, you know what I mean? It was too much. So in that case, I wanted to have the warehouse return it to the sender for a refund. And I was able to do that. So keep in mind, you can do that. I wouldn't try and do that on the regular because I believe it's a little bit like AliExpress where you get a score and you don't want to have a low score. Sellers might not sell to you. I don't know how it works exactly, but I just recommend not making that a regular practice. It is a bit of a pain and there is like a waiting period. So all right, but that is basically how I shop on TaoBao. If you have questions, please put them down in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I've just been purchasing stuff for myself and my dolls, obviously, off of TaoBao for about 2 years now. And I've had almost zero issues. It would be really cool if TaoBao was more accessible to more people, and that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can find stuff you guys like too. If you're already subscribed to my channel, thanks so much for subscribing. If you're new here, I hope you like the content and will consider subscribing. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.